When I was a kid, I was just a casual DC watcher. Wasn't really a big fan, but also didn't hate it. Superman and Batman were the first two I was introduced to, and then later on being shown the Justice League. However, in my teen years, I became intensely interested in Marvel, Spider Man especially taking over my life. However, as the years went on, Loki and Bucky really bashed into my brain. However, as the years have gone on and the hyperfixations have run their course, I went to explore my favorite cartoons as a child. Then one day, as I am scrolling through Netflix, I happened across a show that I remember well as a kid, The Batman, released in 2004. When I was around 8, my grandma gave us a new DVD to watch on the 2-hour car ride to her house. This DVD was 3 episodes of this show. And when I tell you I rewatched this DVD so many times, I mean it. I loved this cartoon so much, and getting the chance to fully watch the show as an adult has made me love it so much more. The art direction is astounding, the story is fantastic, the soundtrack is a banger, and Batman is truly an amazing character in this show. And although some may not enjoy the character design and the change in villain origins, this show is an extremely big piece of nostalgia for people, and myself. And so I wanted to talk about it with everyone. Also, a little side note, I kept getting distracted writing the script for this because I thought it was a great idea to watch a Justice League episode in the background, so we're not doing that again. Let's begin with the character design. Looking at the different characters within the show, many people will see similarities to a different children's show. Weirdly enough, though, I couldn't find any connection between the show and Ben 10's creative team. But if there is something I missed, let me know. Of these designs, though, I'd have to say my favorite of the bunch is Mr. Freeze and the Joker. Let's begin with Mr. Freeze. I greatly enjoy the divergence from usual interpretations of this character, despite many not enjoying it, as I've learned. His head is entirely encased in ice instead of the tube that he has his head in. That makes it a lot more interesting to me. And his powers coming from being cryogenically frozen instead of being a chemical doctor with a freeze ray is also enjoyable. I understand that not giving him his usual backstory with his wife Nora is sometimes seen as a downside in this show, but I feel like this is still a rather enjoyable interpretation of him, especially as he begins to work together with other villains seen in the story. I do greatly enjoy that with his motivation change, that being him being a petty thief, his obsession with diamonds transfers into a new form, now calling them ice. I really think it works for his character. Now we have the Joker, and I won't lie to you, this man was in my nightmares as a child. On the DVD, none of his episodes were there, but a special feature discussing each of Batman's villains that had been presented at the time was my introduction to this Joker. His hair greatly resembled that of a jester hat. His bloodshot, wide eyes are strong and noticeable. His lanky limbs that he swung around like there were no bones. And most noticeable to me, his enlarged smile with irregularly shaped teeth. The disturbing chomping of his first appearance, the DVD special adding a large and exasperated smack sound effect, scared the crap out of me as a kid. And honestly, it still kinda does. I remember I never wanted to turn the corner after watching that scene and look up the stairs, because I thought he was gonna be there to kill me. Anyways, Joker is still insane in the membrane, as pretty much all Jokers are. But he was always a different kind of unhinged, and I believe this character design allows for that to be shown more properly. Joker wasn't the only bit of horror. This show had no hesitation in making its villains and visuals a bit scarier. Clayface's origin, the Penguin's two henchmen, the entirety of the Man-Bat, it was insane and I love it so much. Although the younger version of me wasn't a big fan, I think it's amazing now as an adult. They didn't hold back and I applaud the design team for their amazing work. I also greatly enjoy having Bruce Wayne before his days with the family he creates. While I do love the Bat family, it is interesting to get a different perspective of how he started. Hell, Jim Gordon doesn't even appear until season 3, which leaves a big part of the plot within the first 2 seasons being centered around Batman being tracked down by the Gotham police for vigilantism. It allows characters like Ethan Bennett and Ellen Yin to thrive in this story, and Ethan Bennett having to suffer the consequences of even suggesting working with Batman. In the end, Yin learns the hard way that he was right, but sadly, it's too late. The first season introduces us to a lot of the big villains, as well as some minor ones that aren't commonly seen within Batman shows too much, at least to my understanding. We have Joker, obviously, Penguin, Bane, Mr. Freeze, Man-Bat, Firefly, and Catwoman. Oh my god. Honestly, there's not enough time in this video for me to go into my disdain for this villain, but just know I freaking hate this woman. We also get introduced to characters like the Ventriloquist, Clue Master, and of course, the origins of Clayface. We will slowly be introduced to more mainstream villains as the show goes on, such as Riddler, Solomon Grundy, and Killer Croc in the season that follows, Poison Ivy following into that next season, and with Poison Ivy's introduction, and Gordon, comes his daughter Barbara, also known as Batgirl. Season 4 also gives us Dick Grayson, the first Robin, as well as showing us his backstory from his eyes somewhat. Actually, kind of interesting. We also meet Harley Quinn as well as Martian Manhunter, which then opens a whole new world for Season 5, the Justice League. There are individual episodes dedicated to Batman and his team, obviously, but it mainly consists of team-ups with the founding members of the Justice League. Most, if not all, of the villains we are introduced to have a new design set up to them, and I greatly enjoy most of these, but there are a couple I'm not too fond of. Riddler has a rather meh design. It's not awful, but it's just not my cup of tea. Ivy is absolutely the worst for me, in my opinion. I believe her hair is what's throwing me off, and I understand it creates a more interesting silhouette. It just doesn't work for her, especially in this show where she is the same age as Batgirl as well. It's admittedly kind of weird to me, especially in Poison Ivy's later flirtatious nature that she seems well known for over time. Now I'd like to talk about my favorite episode, The Big Chill. It begins how most episodes of the show begin, the villain making their big entrance and committing crimes, whether it be obvious or not. However, as this is the entrance for Mr. Freeze, he comes in like an iceberg in Gotham Bay. Oh, wait. Once he breaks onto the ship, he freezes a man that tries to protect his family, then threatens his wife and daughter with killing him for their diamond jewelry, calling them ice. He then retrieves all of the passengers' ice, then escapes the ship, creating a frozen bridge across the bay. As Batman begins the investigation, while the ice trail seems to have gone cold to investigators, he uses an infrared scanners to track him down. Once they meet, they have a standoff, Freeze taunting him as he attempts to dodge the blasts. He comments that Batman's body will begin to become slower as the cold begins to take over, which gets him a batarang to the face. With his ice now broken, his face reveals him to be a thief by the name of Victor Freeze, a man who Batman attempted to catch some time ago. During a car chase, a man is seen crossing the street, which causes Freeze to swerve to avoid him. This happens to cause his car to crash into a cryogenic slab. During a scuffle, Victor drops the diamonds, causing him to jump after them into a cryogenic tube, which closes on him. Batman attempts to free him, but the electricity from a broken cable shocks him back, which also shocks Freeze in the tube. Batman believes him to be dead, and sadly, there's nothing he can do. After Freeze, freezes the Batman, he attempts to destroy him with his ice pick, a device which causes ice to break into tiny pieces before being stopped by Gotham PD. Bruce barely escapes Gotham PD. However, due to the cold, he begins to hallucinate. In this hallucination, he remembers the death of his parents. The man who shot them turns into Mr. Freeze, who covers the ice of the final family portrait of the Wayne family and destroys it, making him awaken from fear. Now, although the ending will probably be predictable, I'm going to stop there for you to watch it yourself, as I love this episode and want you to go see it if you can. What I think sticks out to me the most in this episode is the actual consequences of the cold that Bruce experiences. Hypothermia causes you to become slower, weaker, and in extreme cases will cause hallucinations. The hallucinations are also done well in this show. Although we know about Bruce losing his parents young, shown in a flashback with Alfred during Bane's episode, this was the first time seeing the event firsthand. Obviously not the first time ever in Batman cartoons, but seeing it via a hallucination, one that causes the killer to be changed to Mr. Freeze, is a really good way to portray this. And this being the first episode of this show I ever saw, it had a lasting impact on me for the long haul. And before anyone says anything, yes, I know the Catwoman episode comes before this one and the Man Bat episode before this one, but I swear to God, it was the first one I saw. I swear I didn't see the Batman and Catwoman team up first. I don't know what to tell you. Overall, I love this show for the artistic liberties it takes for designing characters in a fun and unique way, as well as not being afraid to get a little creepy and scary for a kid's show. The number of puns made by everybody, including freaking Batman, is honestly kind of ridiculous, but it's some dumb fun. There was a comic series made in relation to this show, which I want to try to find and read out of curiosity. It's just gonna take me some time. In the meantime, I'm going to write more scripts of my hyperfixations, and hopefully you'll find some enjoyment in that. I have ideas for talking about my favorite anime, talking about the anime genre as a whole, as well as Legends EA and Pokopia, as well as a long project that I am working on as well. Anyways, I'm gonna head off. Good night, everyone.